Gwilym, I feel a little bit bad. Oh, sorry, I should say hello first. Hello,
Hello.
Gwilym. I,
Hello.
I feel a little bit kind of jealous. So I missed the last podcast recording, didn't I? Kind of tragic personal family
Yeah,
circumstance
yeah.
stuff. But I wasn't able to do and I listened to it when I was out on my run at the weekend. And I feel jealous for a couple of reasons. One, you seem to have a really good relationship with Neil, and
I love Neil.
that made me sad.
I love Neil.
Yeah, it came across. It came across.
Why would that make anyone
Because
sad?
I thought we had a special relationship.
Oh, you did. Oh, good, good. It's working.
Yeah, but yeah, no. So I felt a little bit sad about that,
No,
and
sorry.
also it was quite a good podcast, and that made me too.
Well, we had a pro guest. I mean, Max is obviously a journalist by trade, so I love the way he bonded with Neil and Max
Oh,
bonded over there.
two journos in a virtual hug. Yeah,
Yeah, it was great. But we missed you dreadfully, Lee, and it wasn't the same.
yeah. No, I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but all sorts of horrible stuff was going down, and I just needed to take a
Yeah.
couple of days out. Otherwise, how are things with you?
Very good. Thank you very much. Again, I'm in the toddler haze at the moment. Just so it's just non-stop. I've got a
I've got to
cold.
say, you've combed your hair today. You're looking very. It's kempt, the opposite of unkempt. Is
I'm
that
I'm
the
looking. I'm highly kempt. No, it's because I had to get her to brush her hair, so I basically had to spray my hair with her conditioner and then brush it, and then she'd do hers. That's where I am in my life.
Yeah, it's like an Ernie Wise look, I would say.
This is going so well. I've made it.
Lee Davis and Gwilym Roberts are the two IPs in a pod, and you are listening to a podcast on intellectual property, brought to you by the Chartered Institute of Patent Attorneys.
Oh well. Anyway, so this is my first one of the new series, and we've got kind of a celebrity guest on today, a star from the world of IP,
Oh yes.
a veritable globetrotter when it comes to presenting and representing UK patent attorneys anywhere in the world at the drop of a hat.
A titan.
A titan. It's last year's president, so this year's immediate past president of CIPA, Daniel Chu.
Hello, hi,
Daniel.
Lee, hi, Gwilym. Thanks for having me.
You are a man who needs no introduction, but of course you've got to give yourself one, because there will, believe it or not, there may be one or two people listening to this who don't know who you are. So for those poor unfortunate people, wherever they are in the world, because you just happen to have been there, I don't know, some random outpost. Where, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Daniel Chu. I'm a partner at HLK. I'm also the head of Asia Group of the firm. So I'm the immediate past president of CIPA, the Chartered Institute of Patent Attorneys, in case you don't know. And my current additional role is also the chair of International Liaison Committee.
That's just so you can keep on doing the globe-trotting, isn't it?
Yeah. And raising CIPA's profile, of course.
Yeah, no, of course. It's really important, the work that you do. So first question, really, is it a relief that it's all in the past now?
It is actually. Yeah. When people asked me last year, I'll say, I enjoy every minute, every second of being a president for various reasons. And on the 1st of January, I just felt, it's a huge relief. Not being a president is such a weird feeling. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I did enjoy it, but it's nice to pass it on to Matt.
With great power comes great responsibility, Daniel. Well done.
I would like to say you are one of a recent kind of crop, Matt included, Alicia before you, of people who've become president of CIPA. Well, actually, they're in quite the prime of their careers, I would say. You know, you're sort of on top of your game. You're kind of at the leading edge of practice. So, kind of a couple of things I wanted to say. First of all, we have to say a big thanks to HLK for making that happen, for allowing you to have the time and the space that you needed to do the presidential stuff. I'm sure you can probably say now, but I'm sure there were benefits for the firm.
Yes.
In that as well. I'm sure there were kind of there was a reciprocity in that. CIPA gets a kind of top of their game patent attorney, and HLK hopefully gets the benefit of the exposure and the kind of connectivity that comes with that. And also, I just thought it might be useful for you to say a little bit about what it was like to be doing the job and be in practice, because that's quite unusual in CIPA of the past. The presidency was something that you did maybe towards the end of your career rather than when you were in the peak. So Yeah, tell us a little bit about what it was like being a working president.
I think there are benefits because you are actually on the job and you're thinking about the future of the professions whilst you're actually practicing full time. So I think, in my view, you want to engage more on what really matters to the professions now and also in the future. But juggling a full-time practice, it is tough. I think the understanding of the partnership is extremely important. So being an equity partner of the firm, obviously I had to seek support from my fellow partners.
Yeah.
And I've heard from other presidents, even though they were not at the prime of the career, they had to do the same thing, but not necessarily getting the full support. I was in a very fortunate position that not only I got the full support, but they were very encouraging. They thought, great, you should do it, absolutely do it. I think it's great to put ourselves outside our comfort zone sometimes, and hopefully the skills that I picked up as being the president of CIPA can then come back and contribute to the firm.
I was going to comment on that last one, actually, Daniel, because something I think you said to me the other day was that at the beginning of your presidency, people say, "Can you stand up and make a speech?" And you'd be thinking, "I guess so. I guess I'll get away with it." And by the end of the year, you say, "Yeah, what do you want a speech on? I'm here. I can give a speech."
I couldn't believe it. So on so many occasions, I was being put on the spot, and you sort of thought you've done the duty for the day, and then towards the end of the evening, someone comes up to you and say, "Oh, would you like to say a few words?" And you say a few words, and and then you thought, "Oh, that's done," and then you've got to conclude the evening, conclude the event, and say, "Oh, do you want to say a few words again?" What? So you sort of you got used to it, and I guess it's also a skill that you sort of picked up as you did the gig.
And also good for Hazeltine Lake Kempner. It's a recognition that you're giving some time. I think the profession looks after its constituencies really well. So I feel that a lot of firms put in because they know they get back. But I think putting in the level of commitment for a president is huge. So I think it's fantastic they've done it. And yeah, as Lee says, hopefully you get some. I mean, you're a superstar in Asia anyway, but I guess you're even more of an Asian superstar now. So getting out there and with the prestige as well must have helped.
It has helped a lot, actually. So one of the reasons I think, Lee, you might recall, is when I agreed to your pitch for me to agree to be president of CIPA, was one reason that persuaded myself was because I say I have these international connections. Actually, why not? Why don't I capitalize on those connections and help CIPA raise that profile? And I think I did that quite extensively last year, which I enjoy, both in the US, Asia, and Europe.
So you're quite possibly, and I'm not that social media savvy. I play around with Twitter a little bit, but I'm bored with it at the moment because of the direction it's gone in, and I don't do Instagram and stuff like that. You're probably the first proper social media president, aren't you? I was seeing pictures of you all over the place in your various kind of poses that you would occupy, on draped across stairs or hanging off a balcony or kind of wherever it might be. You've quite enjoyed the social media side of it, haven't you?
Yes. One of the main reasons is because I feel that it was the best way to report to the members. Yeah. And
it's instantaneous.
Yeah. And so it's hard though, because you got to think what you need to write, and then you got to do it quite quickly as well to get the effect. But I think that's one of the reasons why I've done that was actually to report back to the members. You see me doing a little bit less now. Maybe people are thinking, "Oh, what's happening to him?"
So this is meant to be a highlights episode. So come on, give us some of your top lines. What were the really exciting things that you did over the last 12 months?
Well, it's a lot, but I think engaging with the international organizations, building up relationships. It started off with, there was one key objective, UPC being really, really important, explaining to outside organizations our representation rights. And then it got involved to quite a lot of other interesting topics that kept coming out, such as substantive patent law harmonization, diversity, obviously a very, very big topic. And towards the end, we talk a lot about the EQE master's qualifications So I raised that when I was in US. It was quite nice to sort of to gain to see that they're on the same page. There are a few other things, such as the IPO conference, for example. So it's Intellectual Property Organizations Conference. It was the second time in a row that we hosted a CIPA reception at the conference. I think again, it was not just raising the CIPA's profile, but I think giving the opportunity for members to talk to IP owners and also the stakeholders and other IP organizations and attorneys. The other one I wish to mention is obviously having the CIPA Congress outside London, something I'm really proud of. And this year we are going to host it outside London again, and even further away, actually, in Edinburgh.
Yeah, so we did Cambridge last year, didn't we? And it was it was a great event, wasn't it?
I thought it was really successful, and we managed to, I think, got quite a high number of international attendees as well.
Yeah, we did. We exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, so hopefully, long it may continue.
I think you came into your presidency talking about enhancing our kind of international profile. As a profession at large, we have both. I always try and remember this: private practice and in-house. So we're kind of looking after both elements. But I think you've done a huge job on that. How many different countries do you reckon you've been to last year?
Country-wise, probably so yes, US. So just last year, so US, Singapore must be more than that, right? Maybe we should ask a question as to how many cities I've been to.
How many cities have you been? That's what I meant.
Yeah, look at my LinkedIn profile first. And on LinkedIn post. I think we did. So the Washington DC, Chicago. No, was it Chicago? Sorry, Boston. Singapore. Where else? Oh yes, Seattle for AIPLA Spring Conference earlier in the year. Can't remember because I've been traveling for HLK as well.
That sounds good. It's a good
Istanbul. Yep.
There you go. But it was a good, strong US presence there, which of course is something that is always very important. It's a bit of a hub of the state, so that kind of makes sense. And presumably meeting organizations from all around the world as well. I mean, just last week at Matt's reception, we had people from a whole bunch of countries.
Yeah, it was very, very well attended. With foreign guests. Yes.
Lee, there's a highlight I want to talk about. Daniel knows what it was. I think we talk about this most episodes at the moment. It was such a good fun. We were both in Singapore at the same conference, and obviously got to attend the Earthshot Prize on behalf of.
Oh yeah, talk about that.
Daniel, that
was very cool. It's there's so many highlights actually. I remember I arrived. I forgot my ID. I was like, "Oh no!" And I forgot my ID, and they were very strict about the ID. I said, I thought I better pull up my president medal. Maybe they'll recognize that, and just forgot about the ID. But thankfully, I had it. I had my ID, in digital form, and they accepted that. But there was a long queue of people. There was hundreds of people.
It was like Singapore high society, I thought, judging by the kind of the look. It was very cool looking people. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, we walked past Bastille. I don't know if you noticed, I worked out afterwards that we walked, because Bastille performed, but they were doing a little photo shoot in front of that wall of sponsors or something. And we actually walked right past them, and I just thought, who's the scruffy so-and-so in those trainers?
Why are they not in? No, it was very enjoyable. But I wish we were just a few rows behind Prince William.
We were quite in row V. I think we were in row V, something like that.
But is that because they were V, I, and P?
There you go.
Yeah.
Only three
so
rows.
we're in the front row, basically.
Nobody wants to be in P. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were looking very sharp, Daniel.
Come on, you're very kind. You were. We should post that our James Bond double act picture again, the black and white one.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Yeah. But by the way, Lee, we were also doing a great job for promoting the Chartered Institute as well as going to a fancy bash. Sorry, should clarify that.
What about so one thing I always find quite interesting, Daniel, and sorry, I'm going to go to kind of like deep stuff now rather than rather than dressing up in dicky bow ties for prestigious events. How have you found the politics of it all? The sort of the internal politics in CIPA. So what's it been like actually being president and having to kind of like control the council and all of those kinds of things, but also the politics of working with other external stakeholders?
I enjoyed working with the officers and the council. I thought everyone has something to contribute, and it's nice to see the profession coming together and engaging on issues that really matters to us. With regards to engaging outside, I think outside CIPA, if I guess you're referring to like UK IPO and very
Yeah.
interesting. I think sometimes you do try to spend time trying to find a better word than educate. Maybe
no, I think educate's probably the right word.
Even simple stuff like how things actually operate in practice and how a change of policy could actually affect how our professions operate. Can I give specific examples or really?
Yeah, go for it.
One of the things I remember was the digital transformation project that we've been engaging with the UK IPO, specifically on was it deadlines? Yeah, change of deadlines in the weekend or something like that. And it was something that we engaged quite heavily with UK IPO to try to make them understand. Look, actually, in practice, it is quite difficult for it to work. Thinking about, say, even if attorneys want to work in the weekend, we can't get paralegals to work in the weekend to help us with the deadlines. So it is in practice something that we needed. We felt that we needed to educate the UK IPO on. This is just one example I could think of. Obviously, overseas engaging with AIPLA on substantive law, patent law harmonization was an important one because that's been a hot topic. The meeting with Cathy Vidal was highlight for me actually. So much energy, such an engaging person, and really take these matters really seriously. I went to the meeting. They brought out 8 subject matter experts to meet me to make sure that actually
But that's okay because you're an expert in 8 subject areas. So that's actually a meeting of minds.
I have to admit that a lot of things I have to turn to you and the officers. It's good to have. I think it's really important to have officers like you, Neil, and Gwilym to have that continuity, because at the end of the day, it's a 1-year gig, and then you spend a year before, yes, learning about stuff, and then there you are a year later, you're the president. But I found that a lot of issues it has been helpful turning to you guys because you know so much about the background and the history.
You must have met quite a few VIPs over the year as well. So various heads of patent offices and so on.
Yeah, sure. Like I mentioned, Cathy Vidal, yeah. And Adam Williams, and we have that regular president. Is that every 2 months, Lee? Is that right? Every 2 months? Yeah, meeting.
Oh, yeah. The full presidents thing with 6 presidents in it, that one.
Of course.
Well, it's up to about 8 now, so we've just dropped the number. So it is now just the president's meeting.
Just the president's meeting. And obviously, the conference APA is a good one to meet sister organizations. One conference we sort of cover, I think, quite a lot of presidents, quite a lot of organizations. Yeah.
And isn't it nice when you meet these kind of big names? They're quite nice people normally, aren't they? You think, oh my gosh, they're going to be terrifying, and then you meet them, and actually, they're just normal people doing a job like you. It's quite reassuring, actually.
So being a president in January and then being a president towards the end of the year, December, the feeling was quite very, very different. So it sort of felt a bit more relaxed as well, because a lot of you keep meeting the same people, and also the issues that you've been discussing on sometimes keep coming out. So it is sort of like you can see the progress that on issues that you've been discussing. So it is quite different. And you are right, they are just people. And I think towards the end of the presidency, the topic slowly became, how was it like being the president? You sort of exchange feelings and experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all imposters, I think, is something that you begin to realize a little bit, and it's just settling
speak
into
for
the role.
yourselves.
I know, okay, some people
I'm
born
obviously
to
not.
some people were born to greatness. Obviously, we're lucky to have Lee Davis here today. Most people have some sense of humility and self-awareness, and that's really
Hey, Daniel, one question I was going to ask, and you talked about it earlier, and that's about the presidency is just a year, and different associations have different models. CIPA is 2 years, is it?
2 years. 2 years.
I want to say 3. It's not as long as 3, is it?
I think it's 2 years.
And then some have 3, some have president for life or until you're kind of usurped or whatever it might be. So we're at the sort of like the bottom end, if you like, in terms of longevity. Is it about right? Do you think it should be longer? How do you feel about it? I haven't done it.
I think I answered that question right from the beginning. I think it's a balance. It's just about enough. I think when I started, I sort of felt that, a year. What you achieve in a year, really? But you come to realize that it's a different format. It's quite a nice format, actually. You've been advised and you sort of learn on the job, and then doing the job, and then passing on the knowledge as immediate past president. So it's quite a nice format. And
yeah. So I mean, really, it's a 3-year job.
It is really a 3-year job.
With 1 year in the spotlight. I mean, and yours couldn't have got started with much more of a bigger story, could it? CPTPP. We must talk about CPTPP, not least because I want to hear you both say it. So February, March time. That's the one. Yeah. The Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's almost as if I've been saying it non-stop for 3 years. That was a great way to start the presidency, wasn't it? By putting that to bed.
Yes, it was. It was a relief. Also, I think it's more of your gig, really. Lee, I felt like it is true.
Yeah, but it'll always have happened under your presidency, Daniel. In 10 years' time, you'll talk about this glowing achievement.
And the 4 names, the names will always come out: Lee, Neil, Katrina, and Alicia, and the rest.
So it's all in the past now. But past is new. You've taken on the chair of the International Liaison Committee from Tony Rollins, who'd done that job brilliantly for a number of years, and we of course should say thanks to Tony. I think he's done a remarkable job of making sure that CIPA was on its A game internationally. Of course, not least during the pandemic. What are your plans? What's new ILC going to do under the Daniel Chu leadership?
I think nothing radical. I think continuing on, I think the format that Tony sort of set up is really, really nice, giving the working group leads the opportunity to basically lead each of the working group in each region. Is a nice arrangement, making sure that things happen. The continuing engaging with the sister organization is important. I think the sort of activity needs to continue. You mentioned about CPTPP. I think you would appreciate that international relations did play a part there when we had to actually talk to sister organizations to educate them, to help them educate their respective governments. Yeah, not quite sure.
And what are the priority areas for ILC? There were people listening to this who perhaps don't know much about the work. Where are we most active internationally?
US. We will continue in that order. US, China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. I'm just trying to work down the order, but I'll stop there. Yeah, and the rest of the world.
Any new and exciting new areas that we're going to?
I think we talk about we talk about Africa. So there is.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. South America.
South America. So has always been. I think we typically do one event a year with the we do have a South American working group, by the way, and we do have activities going on in that area or in that region.
Do we have a lot of visits coming up? We used to get loads of visits from people, didn't we?
Oh, I mean, we've just had a really big week for visits. Just this last week.
Yeah.
We had presidents from around the world come to see us, which was amazing.
And we're going to see the Japanese again at the end of the month. Yes.
We are.
I think it's going to be a busy year actually, because we will be hosting the AIPLA this year. They missed last year.
That's right.
The Canadians are planning to visit us. The KPA always visit us. The Koreans just love us.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's nice.
Without giving too many secrets away, they might love the pubs.
Definitely.
They do like a traditional CIPA pub.
I think I hosted a Chinese delegation once, and we took them to the pub, but there was a miscommunication. I wanted the food to be there when we got there, and it ran really late. So I had to pretend that it was part of the plan in order that I could lecture them on the history of the pub, which I didn't know anything about. So I had to make up basically a history for the pub.
I'd pay to listen to you do that.
Oh, it was really interesting. Charles Dickens spent a lot of time there. Train line used to run straight through it. It had been a river at one point. I don't know. It was
Have you ever done Just a Minute? So there will be people listening to this who might be thinking about the presidency at some point in the future, or may not be thinking about it, but might find themselves in the presidency at some point in the future, because it's greatness can be thrust upon you, of course. What are your top tips, Daniel, for being CIPA president? What are the kinds of things that you should have in your kit?
Oh, thankfully this is recorded. I can think. You were going to edit this.
Yeah, we can cut out the white noise. Is that right? Is that right?
Well, I can make. Do you want to make some white noise? There you go.
I should have expected this question, but I'm
gonna. Well, Daniel's thinking. I'm gonna chuck in some of his attributes. And
that's a great shout. Yeah.
Right up top is charisma. Having watched Daniel in action in Singapore, honestly, I was proud to be your wingman, Daniel. That was a remarkable experience generally. Yeah. And I don't think you've ever looked at any challenge and said, "No, I can't do that." You've just taken on whatever's been thrown at you, and you're always cheerful. So there's three from me for starters.
I would say, and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. Listening is important. I think listening to people. Take advice. I think the vice president here is important. Try to learn as much as you can. Have an agenda. Have an aim. My biggest was international connections and UPC. So you sort of started with an aim, and then you very quickly realized that there were many other objectives as well to fulfill.
Well, it's been lovely having you on the podcast again. Congratulations on your presidency. You worked so hard, mate. So hard to represent the profession. For those who don't understand the presidency, it's from chairing council meetings and all of the prep that goes into that, the officers' meetings beforehand. It's being in the engine room, being part of that officer group. The email traffic that you deal with in those 3 years is extraordinary. And then there's the outward facing stuff, either with stakeholders in the UK, as you said, the UK IPO, IP Federation, CIPMA, others, and then internationally. You did an extraordinary job. And on behalf of the members, really, thank you, mate. That was
thank you for the trust, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
But it doesn't end here. It doesn't end here, because there's always a kind of like tangentially related kind of but wildly off-beam question at the end that goes to Gwilym first. So you get a little bit of chance to think about it. So we talked a little bit about your tendency towards the selfie, okay, and your kind of sharing your travels through the media of pictures of you. So Gwilym, you can have a selfie taken with anyone, anywhere in the world. Who is it? Where are you?
Are they alive? Could they be dead?
They can be dead. Of course, they can be dead.
I mean, not a corpse. I don't mean.
That person as living. Yeah,
kind of bring it back to life. Was my point. Yes. Albert Einstein, please. In the Swiss Patent Office, patenting Toblerone while a clock falls past him outside the window.
Yeah. Einstein, of course, another great plumber. So, So there are so many of us in the world of IP.
You'd have bonded beautifully with
me,
Einstein.
Einstein, Burse. What a triumvirate. No, that's a really good one. Yeah, I like that. So go on then, Daniel. I mean, you've probably already got your selfie with your person somewhere in the world, but so a person anywhere in the world.
Actually, I didn't expect to get that selfie, but I did have a selfie with Darren Tang last year in Singapore. So that was great. And it wasn't just a selfie. We had a bit of conversation, and one of the things, the first thing that he said, I just went like, oh, that's 100%, because I totally agree with that, because he brought a subject of, I think education in IP is important, not just educating the public, but actually bring that education into university for people study business management, so that CEOs, those people who become future CEOs, actually have a good idea about IP. So that was my highlight, and that was my the selfie that I wanted to have, and I got it.
I'm not letting you off the question though. You're not wriggling off the question by giving me something you've already done. So a person, alive or dead, anywhere in the world.
I'll name Picasso.
Oh wow! How cool is that? And it wouldn't matter where in the world it was, because he would kind of paint it differently, wouldn't he? So
might paint a selfie.
So I'm not even going to give Gwilym the opportunity to ask me. I'm going to just sort of steamroller straight in there because I know it's coming. So mine would
before
be...
you do, sorry, Lee, before you do, you do realise that amongst world famous plumbers include Super Mario.
Have you Googled this?
Yeah, Michael Caine, Ozzy Osbourne, Bob Hoskins, and Michael Flatley. So you're going to have to trump that for starters.
I didn't know Michael Flatley. that's a
Lord of the Pipes. Yeah.
Yeah. So mine would be W.G. Grace, the cricketer, who is the one person who I would have really loved to have known in some, or at least seen him play in some way, shape, or form. And it would be at what is almost my local cricket ground, Broad Halfpenny Down, which is a cricket ground in a little village called Hambledon in Hampshire, which is known as the cradle of cricket. It's a beautiful place to play cricket, and it's known as sort of like where cricket came of age, really. So yeah, that would be mine. W.G. Grace, by the stumps, Hambledon. Thanks both. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Daniel. It's been it's all right. I've tolerated talking to you, Gwilym. So
we got by.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me.